All right, we've learned a little bit about consultative selling in the first part. Now, this part here, we're going to go over what consultative selling is all about, okay? Consultative, consultative selling is all about how selling has changed. Back many years ago, actually not that long ago, really, selling was about, coming in, somebody walks through the front door and you just put them in whatever car you can and send them on out the door. It doesn't really matter what they wanted, how they wanted it. You just kind of fast talked them into whatever. And I've heard so many salespeople say, "Oh, I'm a good talker." Well, guess what? The best salesperson is a good listener. God gave you two of these and one of these. It's important to use these twice as much as you use this. So selling has changed a lot. Um, it's all about relationships today. It's all about relationships. It's about how you relate to the client. So what we do is we learn to persuade people to pick the product that is right for them. They've already done all the research. So there isn't a lot of persuading to do really because they've already done all that research. But you need to take that research, listen to what they're going to use it for, listen to what they want, and make sure that they come to the right conclusions. There are times when you are the expert in the car business, or you should be because you're their car person, right? So you should be the expert, and you take all that and say, "Hey, have you considered something else?" So persuade them to make the right decision. You're also trained to control the process, to make sure that you let them know what's coming so that they can be prepared for what's coming next. We also need to use razzle-dazzle presentations. We need to use great presentations that just knock their socks off. But this isn't about product knowledge. This isn't about going around every little piece of the car. This is about going around and finding the parts of the car that matter the most to them. A custom-made presentation, for them. We use planned presentations. Okay, many times nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, you have an internet lead that comes in. This internet lead comes in, they've got an appointment, and I've seen it many times at dealerships. Sometimes internet leads don't show. Can you believe that? Somebody sets an appointment and they don't show for the appointment? I would have never guessed it, would you? It happens all the time, okay? Happens all the time. In fact, it happens so frequently that a lot of salespeople will get lazy. They've got an appointment coming in at 3 o'clock. They don't do anything because they figure that that person's not even going to come in. They're there, they're ready for them themselves, and then they greet them at the door and they say, "Hey, you're here to look at a vehicle. Which one were you looking at?" And then they have to go down and find it. We use planned presentations. So when that client comes through the door, you need to have that car pulled up. It needs to be gassed up, make sure it's got some gas in it, make sure it runs, make sure it starts okay. If you even have a chance, you can run it through the car wash real quick or have the lot techs knock the dirt off of it to make it nice and ready for them to drive and take a look at. So we use planned presentations. If you have an appointment, take advantage of it. Worst thing that happens is you have to put the car away and you've got a little, dirty trying to get it out of the back lot. I mean, it's not a big deal, right? Put it back, you might need it again in a few hours. We're also trained to overcome objections. Overcoming objections is a big deal because a lot of folks have trouble making a decision. The hardest part about making a decision, you know what the number one hardest part about making a decision? Deciding. Yeah, deciding is the hardest part about making a decision. So we have to help people go ahead and make that decision if it's the right one for them and we know it. Then we need to have some kind of a power close. Now, I know the word power in this close seems kind of weird to have that in there, but really we need to be able to close the deal or have a way to close the deal. I would recommend getting your sales manager involved on every single close that you go into or let them go in on the first one just until you get the hang of it. Because let me tell you something about sales managers. They got to where they're at because they sold a lot of cars usually. That's usually how they got to where they're at. And if they got to where they're at because they sold a lot of cars, it's because they know how to close deals and they know how to find out what people want and go ahead and cure that pain that those people have so that they can move on with their lives and enjoy their new vehicle, right? So if that's the case, that the sales managers got to where they are because they are good salespeople, then let them go in and close your deals in the beginning, especially so that you can learn from them. Because they do that every day for every single salesperson. So let me give you, for instance, you're a salesperson and let's say you greet 4 people a day. So 4 people every day, you go out and you do a meet and greet and you do a product presentation, you do a trade appraisal, you do a test drive, and you present numbers to 4 people every single day. All right. Your sales manager does not meet and greet people every single day. They don't do a product presentation every single day. They don't take a test drive every single day. In fact, they may not do any days. But I will tell you one thing that they do a lot of. If there are 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 or 12 salespeople on your sales floor, I guarantee you they go in on deals to try to close deals 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day. Okay? So they get a lot of practice in closing your customer. So use the tool that's best. You have to use the tool that's best. Wise man once told me, my dad actually said, you don't want to use a screwdriver to pound in a nail. You want to use a hammer to pound in a nail, right? You got to use the right tool. So be sure that when you're closing a deal, that you know who has the best skills to be able to close that deal and to make it smooth and easy. Okay. Now your sales managers are going to want you to learn, so they may send you out with the first group of numbers, let you go out and see how well you do, because the person may just go ahead and say yes. But many times, your sales manager would be a better instrument to try to close that deal. The last thing we like to do is we like to show concern for our customer. Make sure that they know that we have their best intentions. Make sure that we're looking out for them. Recap what you've talked about. When you get down to the end, they say, I just don't know. Well, Mr. Customer, you said that you needed a minivan because you were gonna be, hauling a lot of kids to soccer practice. Your kids were getting of that age. You're gonna be hauling a lot of kids to soccer practice. The current car that you have is not acceptable anymore. It just doesn't have the room and the space you need. Plus, it's got a lot of miles on it. It's time to kind of move up. So we realized that you need the minivan. You need the space in the minivan, right? Yeah. And you didn't want an SUV because you didn't want all that fuel economy to go down the tubes. You wanted to have gas mileage somewhere in the 20s, right? Yeah. And you wanted to have seating for 7, right? Right. Okay. So it's not the car, is it? It's not the car, is it? Oh, no, it's not the car, Andy. Great. I just need your okay right here. We have to show concern for our customer and recap why they're there. What do they want? What was their goal? What were they hoping to achieve when they were there? We also need to be able to give straight facts, okay? We need to be able to give straight facts. Facts are such an important thing. Facts are such an important thing, and we need to be able to give straight facts and not lie about things. And we need to take a consultative approach. We have to be able to take a consultative approach where we're consulting with the client. Professionals like attorneys, doctors, tax, your accountants. Everybody has these people that they go to, and you usually ask them for advice at times, don't you? I mean, because they're the expert in that field. You need to become the expert in your field. You need to become their car person. You need to become the person that they go to ask their car questions and what they should do next. And that leads me into assisting in their buying decision. As you gain relationship with the client, they will trust you, and you'll be able to assist them with their buying decision to show them what they might want or what they might need. You also need to provide service, okay? You need to provide service. Just because they bought a car from you doesn't mean that you're dead, okay? It means that you're still there. If they have a problem with their car or they've got a question about it, they need to feel comfortable to come to you, and you need to be able to help them. One of the things I did as a salesperson was, for some of my clients, I would actually go pick their car up and bring it in for service and leave my demo there. We got demos at the time. It was a long time ago. But I'd leave my demo there, go bring their car in for service. When it got done, I'd take it back down there and get my demo and bring it back to the dealership. It was an extra service. Yeah, it was kind of inconvenient for me at times, but you know what? It went a long way, because let me tell you what happened. When I would do that, the people that they worked with, or really they were the boss probably, because I sold Lincoln and Mercury products, so they were the boss. I would take their car down to them at work, and their people would be like, wow, how did you get them to do that? Oh, that's my salesperson. He does that for me. Goodness gracious, did he have it washed too? Yes, because I always had the lot techs wash it before I brought it back, right? I had them shine up the tires and make it look real good. So when I brought it back, it looked better than when I took it. So it was really important to do that. So I not only did it for the client, but I also did it for good word of mouth for me, and it worked out really, really well. That's just one way you can provide service to your clients. You also want to follow up. You want to follow up and see how things are going. you know, days, weeks, months, years after they buy the car, it's really important that you make a phone call, touch base with them, see what's going on in their lives, see how their lives have changed or how you could maybe assist them. Can't tell you how many times that's come up in my life.